你好，你好. Okay, thanks for coming to my talk. I hope you're here to uh, hear about Perl and cpan and not the C++. If you're looking for a talk with C++, that's not happening today. So, um, just a little bit about me. My name is Tatsuhiko Miyagawa. I live in San Francisco. I flew from San Francisco to Tokyo last week and arrived at Taipei yesterday. This is my fifth or sixth OSDC Taiwan. I love this conference. I love Taiwan and food. So I'm glad to be back here. My account is Miyagawa on GitHub, Twitter, cpan, um, many places. So you can check out the links to the slides and you know uh, for URLs for the GitHub on my Twitter account. I have this interesting sticker on my laptop. So if you look, you know, it's on here. I'm eating the Apple logo. I got this sticker from YAPC Asia Tokyo uh, organizers last year. It gets a little unsticky, so that my hair is a little curry. Uh, it's about to get unstick. Anyway, today I'm gonna talk about cpanm minus. I started this project, this software, as kind of like a joke, because there was a software called cpanm plus, and I had some problems with it, as well as cpan shell. So I just said it as a joke and name it cpanm minus. But apparently, lots of people liked it, and got his attention and became popular right about now. It's popular because it's tiny and it just works. If you compare it with the other installers like cpan shell and cpan plus, it has a really good default values, so you don't need to configure at all. You just give it the module name to install, and it just installs it. If you use the other installers, you're asked like hundreds of questions before doing the initial installation. And cpanm minus, by default, output is very quiet. So um, instead of showing the hundreds of lines of test log on the console, you'll just see what's it's gonna do, what it did. It's really quiet and concise. And if you want a log, the log is available on the home directly. And it's really fast and lightweight. It doesn't eat like 100 meg of memory, or it doesn't need like 1 minute to download the cpan mirror archives and rebuild the database. And it's even provided as just one file, so you can just download the file and put it in your path, and it just works. This is the command to install cpanm minus. What it does is to get the cpanm file with curl command cpanmin.us, and then use that to install cpanm from cpan. So it's like bootstrapping itself. You don't even need to use cpan shell or cpan plus to install it. But as I said, you can grab the file and like copy that file to bin, and it will work as well. It works really well with Perlbrew and PLM. Perlbrew is the Perl version manager written by Gugat, and PLM is the other tool that does similar things. And if you install Perlbrew and PLM, they have a cpanm command to install cpanm, and it just works with them very well. So this is how it works. You just give it a name of the module that you want to install, and just grabs it, builds it, tests it, and installs to your path. It's very quiet and it just works. And the latest version of cpanm, the major version, is 1.6, and I released it in February, and it is a couple months ago. And I want to show you what's new in 1.6. This has a lot of couple of quite great features and exciting things. First of all, this is probably the most exciting and important new features. To be able to pin versions, specific version of the per module can be installed instead of the latest version available on cpan. And you can also query a little complex version range support. I'm gonna show you this right after this. And this is powered all by MetaCpan. MetaCpan is the website, metacpan.org. It's a new, if you just in case you don't know, it's a brand new website that has an alternative way to browse and discover, explore per modules. It's much better and more modern UI than the old website like search cpan.org. So I recommend you to check it out just in case you haven't. And in addition to specify the version, a specific version to install, you can also specify a dev option to install the development release of the per module. And you can also install modules from Git repository. And now it now has the format called cpan file support. I'm gonna show you about this later with the live demo. That requires the internet, so just if the everything just falls out, my apologies, but I think it works. So Perl, if you install like the latest module, it just grabs the latest version of the module and configure it and building and testing it to install it. But what if the latest version like has API changes or some bugs, and you want to install a different version of the module? What you're gonna do is to go to like MetaCpan to figure out what's the version that's available, like flag 10, like 21. In this case, you know the author is me, Miyagawa. So what you can do is cpanm Miyagawa flag 1.0 20 ta gz. It works. So that's okay, but it's boring to find out what the author ID is, what's the available version is. So instead of doing this, you can now say plaque at 1.0.20, and it will just figure out that I want the 1.0.20 of this module. And also you can use the tilde character, can read it, to specify which version to install. For example, I want bigger than 1.0 but smaller than 2, something like that, and that will figure out what version satisfies this query. You can also go crazy, like bigger than 1.0, smaller than 2, but not 23. This is actually useful if you know that a specific version has a bug. Like, you know, there's a Perl library called LWP, lib.Perl. That's a HTTP client, and the latest version, the previous latest version of the module has a bug with SSL. So you probably want to avoid that. So if you do this, figures out that what I want is 22 instead of 23. You might wonder if it's this. What's the difference with like using equals with tilde? It's actually the same thing. So this command and this command is actually doing exactly the same thing. It's just a shortcut because you use a lot of. You want to use this feature a lot rather than using complex queries. So I don't think you're gonna use these queries a lot from the command line. This is more of useful if you want to use it from shell scripts. If you're a sysadmin, you want to use build script and deploy scripts. So that's the feature for that kind of thing. And you can also say dev flag. Because I don't have a dev release right now on Plaque, it doesn't do much useful. Well, I can actually do this. You know, if you so I have 161 right now, and then you specify a deb option. Well, let's see. Let's run it again without the deb. I have the latest version already have, but if you specify deb, because I have a deb release of cpan minus on cpan, so it gets the 169 trial release. It's useful to test. You know, the author uploads the latest development version of the release and asks the contributors, developers to test out their version. You can use this --deb option to do that. And that's the version specification. And you know, there's the other thing called so you got this per module on GitHub I have on right now, and it's not on cpan yet. So how do you install it? Just give it the git URL, git read-only URL, copy that, and feed it to cpanm, and it just clones the git repository and installs from the git master. Sometimes you want to specify not the master, like the branches. So this repository has a debug branch here. So you can say @debug. It will check out the debug branch and installs the different version. Master has 0.01 and debug has 0.02. You can also specify tags and SHA-1 commit hash as well. So it's easy. It's useful if you want to try out some modules only on GitHub, not on cpan, or you can fork per module on your Git repository and then use it instead of the run on cpan. So like, if you found a bug, you want to send a patch pull request, but it will take a few days for the author to respond to the patch, right? And in that case, you can just use your patched version, and then if it gets merged, you can just upgrade to cpan version. So that kind of thing can be a lot easier with these features in 1.6. So that's basically what's new in 1.6. And 1.7, I'm working on 1.7, the next major release of the cpanm in development. I started working on it last week because we had the hackathon in Tokyo. So I will show you what's going to be in 1.7. Not everything is implemented yet, but I think this is going to be put up 1.7. First of all, the executable size, the file is a little smaller, 20%, 30% smaller. Not a big deal if you install it, but if you use it from the HTTP download, smaller is better because the download is faster. It works much better with Travis CI and cpan testers and things like that. It's got even better specification support and stuff like that. I will show you, I talk about it. So cpanm didn't have cpan tester support. So if you want to install module and feedback the test failures to the authors, cpanm didn't have that way. So you have to use cpan shell or cpan plus to do that. But this guy Breno and Toby created a module called cpan-reporter. This is an external tool to send reports based on cpan-, and cpan-times is an extension to cpanm to do that internally. And I'm working with these guys to integrate that feature inside cpanm, so you don't need to install these external tools. It will just, once you test your module, it will report the success and failures to cpan testers, and the authors will get the feedback. And also it works well with Travis CI. I guess most of you have heard of Travis CI, but it's a continuous integration service. It works with any Git repository on GitHub. And cpanm itself is now tested with Travis CI, so that currently running the whole integration test suite of cpanm takes like 5 minutes. And it's a little painful to do that myself, but whenever I make a commit on GitHub, Travis just runs all the tests for me against 4 different versions of Perl: 5.10, 5.12, 14, and 16. And also you can, if you have a Perl module, Perl application, and push to GitHub, configure it to run with Travis CI, that will use cpanm to test, these features. And I didn't talk about cpanm file, but cpanm file is a file format to declare dependencies of your application. And I added new syntax. Well, it's not actually new, but you can specify, on development, you need these modules. You require these modules, and you recommend these modules. And when you run the cpanm install deps with this cpan file, cpanm17 has this new option called with develop. When you say with develop, these development options will also be installed. Right now it's just ignored, but it will be installed. And also there's a new command called feature. So if your application has an optional dependency to SQLite, you can say feature SQLite, you need DVD SQLite, DBI, whatever, and then you say with feature equals SQLite to install it. By default, these features is optional, so it's not installed, but you can say feature this, feature that, these will be installed. So eventually you list those optional dependencies in cpan file and then run it on Travis CI to install it, enable it, so that users of your module can choose which optional features you want, and on Travis you're gonna test against everything installed. And the difference between requires and recommends is kind of interesting. Requires is a requirement. So if you don't have DVD SQLite, it will just fail. But recommends is like highly recommended to install. So cpanm will try to install it. But if it fails, it's not considered a failure. It's optional still. So it's better to specify something like XS module, C module, external libraries. These things can be specified as recommends. It's optional. So that's it. And lastly, so if you want to install external libraries like dbdmysql, for example, this requires the libmysql library, C library, and oftentimes these libraries cannot be auto-detected if you install these in a funky, weird location. It used to be you have to download the table and configure it manually, but 1.7 will have configure args option to specify the command line option. And finally, cpanm will have an uninstall option. So this has been one of the FAQ for cpanm for a long time. Right now we have the separate command called pminstall, but I work with the author of pminstall to just integrate that feature inside cpanm, so you don't need a separate command. Just use cpanm-u, uppercase U, to uninstall the module. So that's basically what we planned for 1.7, and 80% of the code is done. Some of the features were not done yet. I think I'm gonna work on that this weekend, and release it to cpan in May. So if you want to try out the development version, like I did, you can say cpanm --dev app cpan- to install it, and the development is on GitHub, Miyagawa /cpan-. So check it out. And if you have feature requests, bugs, observations, just give me a feedback on GitHub issues or like Twitter. that'll be much appreciated. This slide, I will upload this slide to my speaker deck, speakerdeck.com/Miyagawa. So check it out as well. That's basically it. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? We have 10 minutes, I think. Questions? No questions? Yeah, this talk is not gonna end until someone asks some questions. Otherwise, we have to wait for 10 minutes. How many of you use like Perl and cpanm minus? Not a lot. That's why you don't have any questions. What do you use? Like Perl, Python, Ruby? Python? Yeah. I did a couple Python like a few years ago, and I do Ruby these days at my job. And I love Ruby, and I stole a lot of features, gems, Ruby gems, and things from Ruby to Perl. It's kind of great. Right. Well, if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna finish up and let you have lunch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.